Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Let the filibustering begin.
Welcome to Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to Filibuster here on the Nerd Party Network. It's just me, Lee Hutchison, here today. And, well, actually, I've got a little guest with me. Yep, it's wee Jonesy from Alien. And he's here to help me celebrate Alien Day. Now, I mean, it always makes me chuckle. This is the second year now that it's been Alien Day. The 26th of the 4th. But yeah, branding department at Fox have decided that LV-426, the planet they visit in Alien, is always a good excuse to do Alien-like events. And last year they did Alien and Aliens, the director's cuts in the cinema. And today, when this episode's released, it's going to be Prometheus and Alien again. So that's something to look forward to tonight. I'm personally going to be going along. I think I've seen Alien and Aliens probably more than any other film released in the cinema. It's one of these retro films that just is never not getting shown about every few months. So I'm going along to see it tonight. I've never seen it as a double bill with Prometheus, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that all interacts together. We'll see. But they're going to be doing a little sneak preview of Alien Covenant, and amazingly, with this ticket for Alien Day tonight, I get to see Alien a day early on the 11th of May. I think that's still like a week before America go UK. So yeah, that'll be awesome too. So I figured for today, just maybe a small episode where I'll go through the Alien movies and just maybe pick out a few personal memories or anecdotes from them. You know, maybe this will be exciting for you to listen to. But who knows? Also on the Nerd Party website today, I'm going to be putting back up all the Alien episodes we've done over the past few years. You know, Nerd Nuptial have done an episode talking about Ellen Ripley. We've done an Alien commentary. Me and Matt Hansen did an Aliens episode. So look out for them today, and plenty that will be on the website to keep you entertained. And yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. So let's dive into Alien. I mean, what else? What's new to say about Alien? As I was saying before, this is one of the movies I've seen so many times. It's like a regular feature of the retro screening here in the UK, and I just love Alien. I remembered as a kid always thinking Aliens was the better movie of the two. You know, it really appealed to that kind of teenage boy vibe of guns, explosions, not just one alien, aliens. And yeah, that was just always so cool to watch. I always remember the first time I saw Alien, and I was far too young. I was at that age where any sort of sci-fi movies, aliens, just like appealed to me. I was a huge Star Trek geek as a kid, and yeah, I loved sci-fi. So I remembered seeing a movie called Alien on the TV schedule. So I put the VHS in, set the timer to record it like 10 o'clock at night, recorded it, and me and my brother were put round to my grand's one night so my parents could go away on a night out. So I brought this VHS tape with me, something to watch, because, you know, what else are you going to do at boring gran and granddad's house, as it were, as a kid? So I put on Alien, watched it. I kind of stopped watching it after about 30 minutes because nothing was happening. It just was not appealing to this young boy who was kind of more used to maybe sort of Star Wars and kind of the chase Star Trek TV show. So I tuned into Alien, enjoyed it, thought it was good, but you know, I just didn't have the patience as a young kid to watch it. So it wasn't until maybe a little later on that I watched Alien, and I loved it. You know, I remember seeing it in a little brochure guide where it was like the 100 films you've got to watch, came free with like Empire magazine, and there was Alien, and I was like, well, I need to give this a go again. And yeah, when I finally got around to seeing it, I think I saw it actually after I saw Aliens, of all things. I really enjoyed it, and it's a movie that I've grown to love more and more as the years have gone on. I think it's a perfect movie, and I don't say that lightly. It's something that when we discussed in the audio commentary, I just think it's such a lived-in universe, and I think that's something Ridley Scott did just so incredibly well with Alien and Blade Runner. And yeah, Alien is just this perfect movie, like from the design of the Nostromo to the characters to how they interact. It's like the perfect antidote to a lot of kind of sci-fi at that time, you know, Star Trek in particular, where it is very sterile to an extent. Everyone gets along. On this ship, people are hitting women, people are, you know, trash talking, people are incompetent at their jobs, or maybe a bit more treacherous. It's there's so much going on, and that makes it automatically a more interesting crew to watch. And I just never tire of watching this, and I think my favourite member of the Nostromo changes each and every time I watch it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it probably for about the 10th time maybe on the big screen. I'm never not going to watch it. I remember a few years ago seeing a screening of Alien, and yeah, of course some of the effects are dated. That's only natural. It's, you know, nearly 40 years old in a couple of years. And someone was just like doing that ironic laugh that you get at some retro screenings where they think because it's an old movie, it's automatically to be treated like a Rocky Horror movie. And yeah, like someone at the end just like kind of went through them like, why were you doing that? Why were you laughing at the movie? And just all these fellow nerds just lined up to berate this guy for just acting like a bit of an ass during the film. And yeah, like Alien, whenever I see it at these screenings, it's always selling out. And it's probably a lot of the same familiar faces. But that just goes to show that this is a film that is just continuing to smash it with audiences after all these years. And yeah, truly, truly a great movie.
Just tell me one thing, Burke. You're going out there to destroy them, right? Not to study, not to bring back, but to wipe them out.
That's the plan.
So now Aliens. Aliens, for the longest time, probably up until my mid-20s, was my favourite of the Alien series. And yeah, it's like Alien, I love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, picking between that and Alien is so difficult. They're both so different. Obviously, Alien is the haunted house horror movie. This one's the war movie. And it just never fails to entertain me. It's another one like Alien. I've seen it as part of double bills so many times, and I think Alien, the characters are just so excellent, so memorable, so quotable. I mean, I think it's Jim Cameron's masterpiece, and it pains me that he's spending so much of his time just making Avatar movies. Well, I'll believe them when I see them. But Alien is so special. I mean, one of the best experiences I ever had was last year. It was at the Albert Hall, and I saw Aliens performed with a live orchestra. It was the world premiere of this sort of event for Aliens. And yeah, to see it like that with a live audience, and it was just incredible. And just at the end, Gail Hurd, the producer, Jim Cameron, writer, director, and Sigourney Weaver came on stage, totally unannounced. No one expected this whatsoever, and it just blew my mind to see them there all on the stage. Aliens is you know, like Alien, a perfect movie. For the genre, for the style, it just is so iconic and perfect. And you know, action movies have rarely ever been bettered. And you know, you look at this movie in particular, and its use of special effects and the behind the scenes footage in particular is so insightful into how to make this kind of movie. And it's sad that it's a bit of a forgotten art these days in the over reliance on CGI. And yeah, I think Aliens still stands the test of time, and I slightly disappointed it's not getting shown tonight as part of maybe a triple bill, but hey, I've got to sleep sometime.
The suspense is back.
And we have no weapons of any kind?
The fear is back.
Don't look back, dude! Run as fast as you can!
And most of all, the bitch is back.
So Alien 3, well, I mean, I'm surprised I'm even including this. If, my God, David Fincher is not including this in his list of movies, why should I? But yeah, Alien 3 was a film kind of similar to Alien in a way for me as a kid. I watched it I was bored by it. I really struggled to connect with it. It takes so long to, you know, click into gear, and after the excitement and adrenaline pumping version of Aliens, to go to like a movie like this just felt really frustrating in a way, and it just wasn't felt like it was gonna be, I don't know, it just didn't click. The characters are interesting, the idea is excellent. Hey, I'd love if they'd gone with the wooden planet, but hey, not to be. But it's an interesting movie, and it's a brilliant ending. You know, Ripley sacrificing herself to destroy this alien once and for all is just so powerful. And you know, it's a shame there is a continuation really of the story after this, because it would have been a great ending to go out on. But hey, what can you do? You know, that's Hollywood, I suppose, these days. But it still doesn't take away from how powerful the ending is. And if they'd ended it there, it could have been a perfect Alien trilogy. But Hollywood had to go back for a fourth. I found it frustrating, and it wasn't really until a few years ago that I really probably accepted it, that I was so invested in the characters of Hicks and Newt, and when they're just so casually killed off right at the beginning of the movie, it was so frustrating. It really was. I was like, oh, like you're so, you know, involved in their experience, and you really are hoping that they're going to survive, get out of here, and go off and have a happy ever after. But I kind of got over that when I realised that Alien is just always about tragedy. Just when you think you're out, you're pulled back in. And unfortunately, they do die, but it really adds to the story of Ripley. She is forever alone, you know. All she's left with is her wit and will in this movie to destroy the alien creature, and she destroys it, and ultimately herself, and killing this queen, and stopping Weyland Yutari from going forward with her plan. So truly one of the best sacrifices a character could ever make, and no cop out. When she's dead, she's dead.
I thought you were dead.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
So Alien Resurrection came out when I was 10, and I was still in the height of this mad alien sci-fi loving. And this was a movie it took me years before I ever saw it. I remember buying the toys when I was in Florida on a family holiday to Disneyland, and the toys were so cool. The Xenomorph was like an amazingly sized toy, and I got a few of those picked up from one of those amazing American toy shops. So I got that, and I went out and was desperate to see this movie just because it was aliens and it was in space. Cool enough for me. And I always found it funny because, like, the cinema I regularly visited as a kid, the Virgin Cinema at the time in Aberdeen at the beach, that had a restaurant next to it, a chain restaurant, and it kind of had like film posters. And I always remembered Alien Resurrection's film poster was just outside the bathroom. Little did I know before I saw the movie that was a quite appropriate placing for Alien Resurrection. Ultimately, it's a terrible movie written by Joss Whedon, but the script being fairly butchered and being put in the hands of a director who has proven to do great things with Amelie and A Very Long Engagement, to name a couple of his great films. This was just the wrong film and perhaps the wrong director at the time. And when I finally saw it, I just didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Like, whereas I've come to appreciate Alien 3 and Alien when I thought as a young kid, these are pretty boring. These aren't really going anywhere. With Alien Resurrection, I find it such a chore to sit through. It's almost completely unbearable. There's that aspect I like, you know. I like Ron Perlman because he's in it. The scene where Ripley tortures to death her own clones is awesome. It's an iconic scene in Alien, no doubt about that. Alien Resurrection, no doubt about that. So yeah, there's some good stuff to mine from this movie, but just one ultimately that is terrible. And hey, you gotta have one dud, I suppose, in the pack.
7 days ago, one of my satellites over Antarctica discovered a pyramid.
Where exactly on the ice is this?
It's not on the ice. It's 2,000 feet under it.
And then we get to Alien vs. Predator, a movie I knew was going to be a bad idea from the start. When they hired Paul Anderson, not the good one, alarm bells were kind of ringing for me. But I thought, hey, this guy did Event Horizon. I think he could do something quite well. And I remember reading on the message boards at the time all about that they were going to be using practical effects, and that was kind of something I was like, wow, that's pretty exciting. Count me in, yeah. But ultimately, it was a movie I remembered seeing it. It was the last date me and my high school girlfriend went on. Remember, I actually passed the cinema the other day. I went to see it in a cinema in St Andrews that I saw the Lost World Jurassic Park in. Now, that's an amazing sequel. And I saw Alien vs. Predator in. And I remember watching it at the beginning, thinking, yeah, I'm kind of getting into this. You know, Lance Henriksen being in it, good sign. But then just watching the movie, and it's like, oh my god, this is just really poor. You know, like even it was kind of it's enjoyable fluff, but it's one I've never really gone back and watched maybe more than another time or two since. So yeah, more so like the film is memorable for, you know, being the last date of a high school era, as it were. Maybe that was the film. Maybe that's why we broke up not too long after. Maybe it was the film. I'll maybe have to chase her up one day at a high school reunion to investigate that.
Some came after us. What came after? I don't know. Hold on.
And then we come to Alien vs. Predator Requiem. You know, I've only ever seen this movie once at the cinema, and it was just god awful, absolutely god awful. I can barely even remember a thing about it. I remember thinking, well, obviously based on the climax to Alien vs. Predator, it's going to be about this alien predator hybrid, which I suppose has some interest, but the film just looks so cheap. It looks like a sci-fi original movie, just not for me whatsoever. I remember being quite excited when Michelle Dessler from 24 was announced to be in it. I thought, well, if Michelle Dessler is going to be in it, it might be okay. No, it's not so good. Maybe I need to revisit this movie soon. Maybe I'll do a podcast on revisiting this movie. But we'll see. I'm in no rush. I mean, it's just a bizarre setting and a bizarre movie, and yeah, I can barely string much thoughts on it because, God, it must have been over 10 years ago since I saw that movie, and certainly not in a rush to revisit it again.
Big things have small beginnings.
And now Prometheus has landed. I couldn't have been more hyped for this movie. You know, anyone that knows me knows that I was betting the house on this movie. The trailers had me so excited, tapping into that alien vibe. The return of Ridley Scott, Noomi Rapace coming on board, an actress I love from the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movie, and man crush Michael Fassbender being on the cast. Rafe Spall, a man I think I might look like when I'm a bit older. And yeah, it was a hell of a cast, hell of a trailer vibe. But when you're watching thinking, man, it seems to be like they're spoiling a lot of the movie. But you thought, surely they're not going to be showing this exploding or this ship crashing in. Surely those things are going to happen in the middle, and maybe they'll be stranded on the planet. Nope, the movie was like that. I remember going to see it at midnight and thinking, after all that hype and being a bit disappointed. My girlfriend at the time had a ticket to see it, but she couldn't make it along in the end. She was too tired, so I brought a friend, and he loved it. And I kind of came out, and I was starting to go into denial mode, just like, oh, it was fine, it was okay. And then I went to see it a couple more times at the cinema, once in IMAX and again in 2D. And I've grown to really enjoy it over the years. I still think it's like a 3.5 out of 5 movie, but I think there's a lot of great things in it. It looks stunning. Fassbender is amazing as David. You know, definitely one of the best characters of the Alien canon. And yeah, things like that are pretty awesome. And I think there's some really interesting designs, ideas, some underbaked stuff. I think if you read into the film and, you know, look at the kind of the Greek mythology aspects of the movie, really quite interesting. I think it's a film that definitely doesn't deserve its reputation as being a total stinker. I think it's just a flawed movie. And how many movies these days are flawed? I think it's really bold, really interesting, and yeah, I'm going to fly the flag for Prometheus, and I think it definitely deserves another go.
There was a boy, said he wandered very far.
And now Alien Covenant. I'm trying to avoid watching the trailers for this. I've seen the teaser, the recent trailer. I'm not watching any of the viral stuff. Unless I see it in a cinema, I'm not wanting to see any of this footage. I will probably watch it after I've seen Alien Covenant. I've already got my ticket to see it, an early preview. And I'm hopeful for the movie. I mean, I haven't been blown away by the trailers so far, but maybe it's like the same problem as Prometheus. I trust in Ridley Scott. He's on a good run at the moment. The Martian has given me hope again for this movie. The return of Fassbender. Unashamed Danny McBride fan. You know, I'd love if he was channeling his inner Kenny Powers in space. So yeah, colour me optimistic. I'm sure we'll do an episode where we discuss Alien Covenant, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for this movie. Do we need it? Probably not. Am I going to like it? Probably. Is it going to be anywhere close to Alien and Aliens? Absolutely not. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious to see where they go after Alien Covenant. I feel like they've held back on a lot of the action and what's to come in Alien Covenant, so I think that'll be a good sign, and hopefully when I see it on the 11th, I'm come out of it not in denial or not feeling disappointed, but coming out thinking, that was a good Alien movie. If I get that, I'm happy. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on Alien movies, and I'd love to hear some of your experiences, anecdotes of watching this incredible and diverse and quality series. So leave us a message on Join the Nerd Party, on Instagram at The Nerd Party, and on Facebook at facebook.com/The Nerd Party. And get in touch with us there. Or tweet me at Lee_Nostromo. With a username like that, how could I not be reviewing some of the Alien movies today? And let us know if you're watching any Alien movies for LV426. That still grinds me as a Brit, as someone that has it as the day before the month. It makes me shudder a bit using the date format in that way, but I'm going to do it for you guys. So let me know what your thoughts are. And this is Lee Hutchison, the last surviving member of the filibuster, signing off.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.